One possession game late in the first. Working around the perimeter, Roddy and White both set screens for Bartoshevitz, who raises to tie the game, and she buries it. Just a few seconds left in the opening quarter. Colombo pulls up and buries one. There's the horn.
Now throwing the Jackets out of their game.
Clark with a poke away up top. Scott trailing her, and one! After a missed shot, the ladies are tipping around the rebound, and the Jackets keep it. Sydney Clark wants a three. She got it! First she gets the offensive rebound, then Sydney Clark hits her third three of the game. She's got 15 points. Shot clock is off at the tail end of the third quarter. BW scored the first 5 points of the quarter, but Mount Union quickly put the brakes on that. Riley Schill, tough shot, she got it. 64-47. Bartoshevitz from deep. What in the world is going on with her? You've got to be kidding me. Even the BW fans clapping to support her effort. 25 for Bartoshevitz through 3 quarters. It's a 20-point game on our way to the fourth at Ersprung Gymnasium. Coming to you live from Ersprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin-Wallace University. Welcome inside our coverage of Yellow Jackets basketball tonight on BWYellowJackets.com. Brendan Gulick and Eric Kwiatkowski alongside. And I'll tell you what, we've got a matchup tonight between two teams that are not conference opponents. They play each other an awful lot. The Yellow Jackets 7-0, having a really good year, basically the best season they've had in a decade. And you've got an Ohio Wesleyan battling Bishop's team that's probably a little better than their record.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. They're no strangers to each other tonight. BW, like you said, is 7-0 on the year. And the battling Bishops, unfortunately, they dropped 6 out of their last 7 games. They're 1-4 on the road. But, you know, they always come to play, and I expect both teams to bring their A game tonight.
Baldwin-Wallace is also undefeated in conference play. It's pretty nice to get off to a 4-0 start in the OAC because of how challenging this conference can be. And a big reason why they've gotten off to such a good start is Mackenzie Colombo.
Yeah, she's been great. She's scoring the basketball, making plays for the rest of the team. And, you know, she's not really known as a scorer even though she's coming off her career-high 25-point game against Capital the other night. But, yeah, she's been great. Just a great player to watch, and, you know, I expect great things out of her tonight as well.
She's been unbelievably important and a leader for Sherry Harrer's group. That's something she needs, especially tonight, because this is a senior-laden team from Delaware, Ohio, the Ohio Wesleyan Battling Bishops, a team that can shoot it from several different spots on the floor, but the Battling Bishops are known for a couple of all-conference performers.
Yeah, Megan Keeter and Taylor Dixon, definitely the main points of this team. They both shoot the ball really well, and they complement each other really well. You know, they got a guard that's able to use their pick and roll to get into some nice action, and then they got their wing player that's able to shoot that 3 ball. So they complement each other really nice, and I expect them to play really well as well tonight.
BW leads the all-time series 11 games to 5. We've got a good one on tap here tonight. It's the Yellow Jackets and the Battling Bishops. We'll hear from head coach Sherry Harrer coming up next on BWYellowJackets.com. BW has beaten Mount Union 6 of the last 9 times they played each other, but this is the first time these two teams have met since last year's OAC title game. And it was sort of a surprise matchup in the OAC title contest as Mackenzie Colombo misses a layup. The reason that was the surprise, BW knocked off the #1 seed in the semifinal round. That was Ohio Northern. Alkire commits the turnover, and so BW gets it right back. That was one of the biggest wins in program history, at least in the last decade for BW, to beat Ohio Northern like that in Ada.
Definitely, Brendan. It's one of those things that nobody thought coming out of this being the 4th seed going in there. So that's a tough thing to ask a Jacket team to do. Beat the #1 team and then beat the #3 team.
Clark buries a 3. She's basically hitting 1 out of every 3 this season, and she gives Baldwin-Wallace a 3-0 lead to get things rolling. BW will play a pretty good man-to-man defense, and they'll do that most of the game, but there's going to be some times they might get away from it. Shot fake from Sanborn, who drives the right side and misfired. Casey Hughes clears it away for the Jackets. Hughes, a young freshman who's really kind of been impressive here now that she's tonight, a dozen games into her college career. Seems to have a pretty good feel for the flow of the offense. It can always be difficult when you've got a young point guard that you're trying to hand the keys to the car, if you will. But as a freshman, they haven't lost with her as the starting point guard. Lemon in the low post. And she missed it high off the window. That ball never hit the rim, so it's a shot clock violation.
There's going to be a great matchup down low between White and Lemon. That time, White wins the battle there. Good defensive positioning there to force Lemon kind of away from the shot, and she knocked it way off the glass for the shot clock violation.
Aaron White, not only the top shooting percentage in the conference, but she's also the second leading rebounder in the OAC, almost 9 a game. In fact, that's something Mount Union is just so good at all the way around, as Bartoshevitz tried for the entry pass. Into the left corner, Sanborn from 12, and she hits.
Good little jumper from extended from the foul line there for Sanborn.
Mackenzie Colombo, last time she played Mount Union, had a career-high 21 points. She reestablished that career high against Heidelberg earlier this season. Hughes passes to Lemon. Smith works around the perimeter with 10 to shoot. Lemon, the baseline jumper. She's so good from that spot on the floor. 5-2.
Sanborn couldn't come back on the backside help there, and Lemon was wide open for the little jumper.
Nicely deflected out of bounds. It's a very different Mount Union team here in now 2017, the first game of the new calendar year. Has a lot to do with the fact that Annie Bova and Katie Clark both graduated. Annie Bova was one of the, not just the best players in the conference, Jeff, but she was one of the best guards in the entire region. And she really was the engine for that Mount Union offense as they went to the NCAA tournament last year. Clark wants another three, and she gets it. It's an 8-2 lead for BW right out of the chute.
What BW definitely needed to do coming out is get hot shooting. They can't come out cold, and then they have to come back, and that's where they usually seem to struggle in games.
On the left side, Casey Morissette recently checked in. That one's swatted away in the paint. Colombo trying to keep possession going up the floor. Stutters on her way to the rim. No foul called, and it's 10-2 Baldwin Wallace. Mount Union Purple Raiders have not taken care of the basketball in the early going, and BW's built a nice cushion at the outset. Jackets by 8, 6:45 left in the opening quarter. Back on the hard court inside her Sprung Gymnasium. Baldwin Wallace and Mount Union are playing in Berea. The men's teams are playing in Alliance. And after Mount Union got off to a wicked fast start, 15-3, Baldwin Wallace called an early timeout, tried to slow that Mount Union roll, and it worked in large part. Jackets have climbed back in. It's halftime in Alliance, and BW is down 46-42, so it's just a 4-point game at the intermission.
We'll see if it's in another exciting game like last year in Alliance, where Cam Coon put up 51 points in a 1-point double overtime loss.
Kelsey Scott with a strong move to the rim. That ball pinballed its way toward the bench, and it's out of bounds. So with the conference championship last year for the Purple Raiders, they went back to the NCAA tournament, finished the regular season with a 20-7 mark, and unfortunately they bowed out in the very first round of the NCAA tournament. They were sent to Thomas More, who eventually won the national championship. Of course, Thomas More is a regional team in Crestview Hills, Kentucky. The Saints, on the heels of Sidney Moss, won the NCAA championship last year after nearly winning it 2 years ago. Turnaround shot looks good out of DeFord's hands, but it didn't go in for her. Scott fighting for the rebound, stepped on the baseline. So it'll be Baldwin Wallace basketball. Mount Union lost in the opening round of the NCAA tournament last year to Guilford College, the Quakers. I believe the final score in that game was 61-57. It was a close game. It was played on a neutral court. Guilford was the representative from the ODAC from North Carolina. Colombo with a nice jump shot. 10 on the clock, and she put it through. And Baldwin Wallace has a comfortable 12-2 lead in the early going.
The start the Yellow Jackets wanted, not what the Purple Raiders wanted to. They're going to have to start scoring and make some stops here.
Mount Union's only hit 1 of 4 shots, and they've turned it over 3 times turning into 8 Baldwin Wallace points. Scott was out of control going to the rim there. Clark's already gotten it going from deep. She's hit a couple of three-point shots. Leads all scorers with 6. This is Hannah Fecht, but I think she traveled ahead of time. She sure did.
Trying to set her feet for that 3 and just shuffled a little too much.
Hannah Fecht, the top three-point shooter in the OAC. Made 29 three-pointers so far in her first 11 games. By the percentage, she's number 2, not just in the conference, but in the Great Lakes region, top 15 in the country. So Fecht really has been good, connecting on 47% of her threes so far this season. So Yellow Jackets by 10 early in the game. Rachel Tinky trying to work it toward the low post, and it becomes another turnover. Tiffany Bentler on the right wing with Kara Marshall. Now Riley Schill up top. Fecht and Wommeldorf round out the group. Marshall, that was a great pass, but kind of caught Wommeldorf off guard.
Wommeldorf looked like she was ready for the rebound and wasn't waiting for the bounce pass.
Well, she composed herself, turned around, and put in a bank shot. Mount Union is trailing by 12. You're just over halfway through the first quarter. On the right side, can Hannah Ferguson find DeFord underneath? Back to a 3 in the left corner, and finally something goes home for Mount Union. Good from Haley Roddy, the senior from Medina Highland. Wommeldorf, a deep 2, and that one's pure. The 3 in that left corner. Actually, I beg your pardon, it was Tinky, not Roddy, that made the three-point bucket. Anyways, Tinky's three-pointer snapped an 11-0 run for Baldwin Wallace.
Tinky's shot kind of reminded me how quick Bova would quick release back last year when you weren't looking at her. Boom, it's in.
Annie Bova, even though her last year of eligibility on the basketball court was last season, Sanborn banks one home quickly. It's 16-7 in the late first quarter. Bova still had 1 semester left of school, so she's been around the program and still obviously very close with her former teammates, trying to help Mount Union with a young group. Bartoshevitz, a nice story this year, finds Sanborn inside, and she can't spin it home. So Jamie Sanborn going to the free throw line, where she is just a 58% free throw shooter. But again, Bartoshevitz last year at one point scored a career-high 11 points in one game, and now she's the team's leading scorer at just over 11 per game. Sanborn's first free throw off the mark. Many feel that if you followed Mount Union basketball when Bartoshevitz was a freshman, if you'd have told them, hey, this is going to be your leading scorer when she's a senior, might have left a few Purple Raider fans scratching their heads, but her growth, along with her playing time, has really improved over the years, and she's become a good staple now for Susie Vennett's group. Fecht between the rings with now a mix of the first and second unit as Katie Smith is in there. Colombo and Clark wait to check back in late first. Lemon the high screen, back to Marshall. Lemon in the paint. 5 to get one off. She needs some help, and it's stolen away. No shot clock violation because it is a steal for Mount Union.
Great defense by White in the corner.
Bartoshevitz for 3, and the Purple Raiders are back in it. It was 14-2 Baldwin Wallace. It's now a 5-point game.